Hi everyone, my name is Prerna Chatterjee and my one great idea is cultivating a sustainable palm oil future. Cultivating a sustainable palm oil future is very important to me. Why? Because at BASF, we source a lot of palm kernel oil that goes into home and personal care products. But before we get into the details, I'd like to ask you a very personal question. How many of us took a shower this morning? Great, your fellow audience members, thank you. And how many of us are wearing recently laundered clothes? Thank you once again. The shampoos that you use, the lotion that moisturizes your skin, the clothes, the detergents that wash your clothes, they all contain palm kernel oil. And one last question, and this is a multiple choice. How many brands in the world have products that contain palm kernel oil? Who says about 100? 200? Well, the answer is more than 400. More than 400 brands in the world have products that contain palm kernel oil. So you must have noticed me using the term palm kernel oil. And how exactly is that different from palm oil? So if you see in my slide there, the orange part of the fruit, that's where the palm oil comes from. And that is what is used in the food sector and the nutrition sector. The inside part, that's where the palm kernel oil comes from. And that's what we use in our home and personal care business. So let's talk about the problem statement here. As we all know that 80% of the global palm oil supply comes from Indonesia, right? And as we also probably know that in the past, because of unsustainable cultivation practice, there was a lot of deforestation that occurred. So from 2001 to 2015, this is what happened in Indonesia. For 14 straight years, the rate of deforestation was equivalent to 20 soccer fields of tropical rainforest being destroyed every hour of every day. And if these supply practices were allowed to continue, what would the state of the planet be? In 2050, that's like 31 years from now, when the population is 9 billion, or in 2100, when the population is 12 billion. It really gives me goosebumps, you know. And so obviously, the very next question that folks ask me is, why palm? Why then are we stuck to this vegetable oil? So then we did a research that evaluates all the vegetable oils that are there. And now let's get into the chemistry a little bit. The colorless, the odorless, the correct pH property that you need in your bottle, or the mildness and the detergency effect that you need in your detergents, they all come from the C12 chain, the C12 carbon chain. And as you see in my chart, only two oils provide that: palm kernel oil and coconut oil. So now you're like, okay, so is coconut oil a possible substitute here? We looked at it. And then we go back to our problem statement, which is the amount of land used. And we see here that palm oil has a yield 10 times higher than that of coconut oil. And thus, at BASF, we feel that shifting the entire problem to another crop is not the solution. Shifting all your problems, that's not how we solve global issues, do we? So that is why we decided to stick to palm to ensure that we fix the supply chain, we clean it, we make it certifiable, we make it as traceable as possible. Does this mean that we are not working on future alternatives? We are. But for the foreseeable future, this is the way ahead. So our journey started in 2004 when we joined RSPO, that's when they were founded. And since then, we've joined various other organizations and developmental organizations like the POIG Foundation, the HCS Steering Committee. We had our first palm commitments out there. We spoke with various stakeholders and NGOs as well, and basically speaking with the palm experts, speaking with the farmers on the ground, trying to understand where everybody sits in the supply chain, how is everybody going to get affected. And we studied, and we researched, and we spoke, and we collaborated, and we constantly kept doing this till one day in December 2017, we woke up and we said, you know what? This is time for action. This is time for change. And 6 months later, I am very happy and very proud to let you know that BASF only supplies RSPO certified sustainable palm for our personal care specialty portfolio. Now, and we reached this transition 1.5 years before our 2020 deadline. Now, all transitions come with their plus and minus points, right? So I need to tell you here, or I need to let you in on a little secret, the transition was easier than it seemed. Why? Because most of our customers, they already had their 2020 palm-based goals, and those that didn't knew that this is the way forward. So they all collaborated. And ladies and gentlemen, I need to tell you that this is absolutely a rock-solid example of the industry coming together and winning together. And our customers rode this wave with us in changing towards sustainable palm. So that was an example of how we all came together, correct? But as an individual company as well, we need to take certain steps. Have your additional forest conservation policies in place, which include biodiversity. Ensure traceability. Palm oil supply chain is highly complex, so we have to strive for 100% traceability. Have a time-bound plan and make the decision. Make the decision to go 100% certified sustainable palm. And measure your success, measure your failures, put it in a report, and put it out there on the website. So as an industry, we are able to learn from each other. And as all of us move towards a sustainable palm future, we also need to ensure that there is that much supply of sustainable palm. So what we do, and an interesting fact, is that 40% of the world's global palm oil supply comes from smallholder farmers. These farmers, they have like 1 hectare or 2 hectare land each. So we have to really motivate them to ensure that their plantations get certified. And we motivate them by providing them with good agricultural practices that help them with 15% higher yield if they certify their plantations, and thus better livelihood and better income from them. Not just that, we also provide them with financial literacy training and show them the importance of good bookkeeping, because that is what is going to get you to traceability. Well, that being said, traceability, certification, stakeholder engagement, collaboration as an industry are all key aspects that are needed for us to do together so that we are able to establish a permanent and positive change towards cultivating a sustainable palm oil future. Thank you.